Hi, this is Tony, and if you're using QromaTag for Mac and you want to get started really quickly, watch this video. Now, before we get started, I want to show you how to turn on the voice recognition system that's built into macOS 10. Now, you don't have to use this to use QromaTag, but it's going to save you a ton of time, and it's really easy to get set up with. So I'm going to go into System Preferences, and then I'm going to tap onto my keyboard control panel, and over here to the very right is an option called Dictation. Make sure that that's turned on, and then over here to the right you can click on any microphone that's available to your system. I have an external one. This option that says Use Enhanced Dictation, I have it turned off for a very good reason that I go into greater detail in the manual and the other fuller tutorial, but trust me, keep this turned off. Finally, there's a shortcut that gets used to turn on and off the voice recognition system. That can be configured here. I've got mine to double tapping on the command key on the right side of my keyboard, but you can click on here and configure it the way you like it. Once that is done, just tap the close box and you're ready to go. The next thing I want to do is to allow QromaTag to have access to my contacts. And the reason for this is if I have photos that include people who are in my contacts list, during the voice description, QromaTag will be able to recognize those names and tag them automatically. And to be able to do that, just click on this person icon, and then right here where it says Enable Contacts Lookup, just turn that on to check it on, and then make sure to hit Save, and then my names will be available to QromaTag, both to be recognized through voice recognition and to also be quickly entered as keywords. The last little bit of setup that I want to show you is the Relationship Manager, which you can get to by clicking on this icon. And this is the technology that allows us to be able to automatically detect the names of your relatives. So if you describe a photo and you say, this is my mom and I, it will be able to detect both your name and your mom's name. And the way we do that is through these relationship sentences. So each one of these is a relationship. It's followed by a carriage return for each new line. And the structure is very simple. So for example, in this first one, whenever I said the word I in a description, it will know to also add my name into the photo's metadata. And if it hears the word dad or father, it will put my dad's name in the metadata. I can also use plural nouns like grandparents, and it will put two names into the metadata simply by me adding each name separated by a comma. And this can be as many names as you want, and they can be both separated by commas. If I have duplicate relationships like two uncles, then I would just add one after the other. And then when I give the description, I would make sure that I say the specific first name of the uncle that I wanted to tag. So for example, if I had a photo of Uncle Jack, I would say, here's Uncle Jack and I, and then it would automatically put in the full name. That's how the Relationship Manager works. When you're done creating your own version of the Relationship Manager, make sure to hit the Save button to register that with QromaTag. So with that little bit of setup done, I'm ready to start tagging photos. So I'm just going to go into my Finder and find a folder full of images that I want to bring into QromaTag, and I'm just going to drag them into this sidebar. And then when I click on it, I'll see little thumbnails of these images, and I can use the slider to make it bigger or smaller. I've got two images here of my mom and my sister that were taken in France in the early 70s. Now if I click on this image, I can see that it doesn't have any metadata in it, and I want to add some. So I'm going to grab both of these images by holding the Shift key down. I can select both of them together, and I'm going to put my cursor right here in this natural language tagging panel, and I'm going to start my voice recognition engine by double tapping onto my shortcut key, give it a description, and then double tap on it again to stop the transcription. This is my mom and sister at the Eiffel Tower in the spring of 1974. That did a pretty good job of transcribing what I said. I can do edits in here if I need to clean up any of this description. This looks pretty good, so I'm going to hit the Recognize button. And what that's going to do is it's going to look through this description and find things like dates, locations, and people. And so because this said the spring of 1974, it was able to create this date. It found the Eiffel Tower's exact address and put it here. And then because I said my mom and my sister, and that was in the Relationship Manager, it's going to put their full names in. So with this looking good, I'm going to tap onto my Apply button, and it's going to move all that metadata into the inspector. And if that looks good, I'm going to hit Save to write that metadata out to the file. Now, as soon as that happens, those two images were hidden from me. And the reason for that is, if I bring a folder full of images and I've tagged some of them, I might want to hide those images so I know how many I need to keep going. But if I ever want to see those two images again, I can just click onto this eye icon right here, and there they are. And when I tap on them, I can see that that metadata is embedded into the image. I can right-click on here to open that image, and I can see the metadata is embedded into the photo, along with the description and all that other stuff. Let's do a couple more. This is my dad and I at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in the spring of 1974 with Ruth Ann Stepakowski. Okay, again, it did a pretty decent job of getting the description, except it kind of screwed up over here where I said my dad and I, so I'm just going to fix that. And that looks better now, and I'm going to tap on the Recognize button. And again, it found the date and the location. It found my dad and I because I used those words in the Relationship Manager. It also found Ruth Ann Stepakowski, and the reason it found Ruth Ann Stepakowski is because she's in my contacts, and it's able to recognize it through voice recognition, and it was able to then tag that photo. With all this metadata now looking correct, I can tap on the Apply button and bring all that metadata into the inspector, and then when I hit Save, that all gets written back out to the image. So the last thing I want to demonstrate in this QuickStart video is how to do direct tagging. And that is for photos that already have some metadata in them and you just want to add something to them real quick. So if you look at these images here, there is metadata for my sister and I already, but they're missing location and date information. So I'm going to grab all four of them together. So right here in the location search, I'm going to look for where these photos were taken. And that looks right. That's Almaden Plaza in San Jose. If this looks correct, I'm going to tap on the Apply button. That's going to transfer all of that metadata into this panel. And this particular field is actually an address, but I actually want to call this Almaden Plaza. So I can do that just to edit it. The last thing I want to do is I want to give these photos a date. I don't know the exact date these photos were taken, but I think they were taken in the summer of 1975. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to type in summer of 1975. And this particular field accepts a lot of different date formats. So it could take just the year, it could take the month and year, or it can take a season. And once I type that in, I'm going to hit my tab key. And when it turns blue and gives me a full date, that means it recognized it. So now for these photos, I've got the date, the location, and the people. And when this looks fine, I'm going to tap Save. And that information now gets written directly into the metadata, and I have a more complete image. Okay, so that's a high-level view on how to get started using QromaTag. Now, if you want some more detailed information, click on the Getting Started button on our website. And right here, there's a full user guide that provides you a lot more detail on some of the features that we were discussing. There's also a video training section that has targeted videos that are specific to other features that I didn't go into in great detail. So check out those resources, and I hope you enjoy using QromaTag.